My name is Ray Warner, and today what I'm going to show you is how to make your own stretcher. I'm going to show you a couple of different joinery techniques, and first what I would like to do is just to go over some of the materials that we're going to be using today. For the project, what we're going to use is a 1x3. This is number 2 pine that I'm using. You can also use popular if you want to go up a little bit in your quality of materials. Also, what I'm going to use is a quarter round that's half-inch quarter round. They have 3/4 inch quarter round if you want a higher lift on your canvas, but I find that the half-inch is adequate. Also, what I've done is cut out corners from Luan. This is 1/4 inch Luan. We made some 45-degree corners that we're going to use for a part of our joinery. Also, one of the most important things that you'll need is to use your safety glasses. The safety comes first. Also, something to cover, to help you with your breathing and from dust. So I always use a face mask, and we'll be using equipment that has a high noise level. So I also have something for the ears to protect your hearing. So as we get started, I'll show you some of the other materials that I'll be using. Now, I'll show you some of the materials that I'll use, and then also there's some other materials that you can use that'll be a little bit less expensive. Okay, now the next step that we're going to do, let me put my earplugs in, is that I'm going to attach the quarter round, and I'm just going to show you the angle that I'm going to use. This angle is going to be on the outer edge. The rounded edge is going to be towards the inside, being attached here, like this. But the first thing that we're going to do is put some glue down. Glue is our most important friend. It acts as a bonding agent. Actually, it works better than nails. We're going to use nails and just basically to clamp it down initially. And we're going to bead of glue down. You don't need that much, just a little along the edge here. On this edge. Like that. And we'll attach quarter round down. Now, like I said before, I'm using a pneumatic nail gun, but you can also use brads. Use small brads, like 1-inch brad nails I have here with a hammer. So if you don't have a nail gun, you can use that. I'm using this so that I can speed up the process so you can see me work. So what I'll do is I'll attach quarter round down. And that's basically the first step. As you notice, I have this nice flat edge, quarter round. It's on the inside, right along the edge here. When the glue dries, it's going to bond this down even tighter than actually the nails are. Just, as I said, clamps. So our next step is we're going to go over to the chop saw and cut this into 45-degree angles. for part of our joinery process. What I've done now is you watch me attach one quarter round to one side, and now I've also attached it on another piece of stock. So we have two pieces of stock. They're both 6 feet. So it's a little bit more than what I actually need. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut these into 45-degree angles on each corner. I always use a combination square. Combination square has a 45-degree angle on one side, and it also has a 90-degree angle on the other side, and it allows me to make my marks. So I can always check my marks on the chop saw with this to make sure that I have an actual 45-degree cut. In case the chop saw is off a little bit, I can make that adjustment. So now let's go over to the chop saw where we can make the cuts. What I've determined that I want to do is I want to make my stretcher. I have two 6-foot pieces, but I want to make a stretcher that's 36 by 30. So the first cut that I'm going to make, I'm going to cut 45-degree angles on both pieces. And just to make sure that I'm roughly in the right ballpark, I'm going to take my combination square and lay it down on my stock. I'm going to cut off this bad stuff, this bad material here. And that's why I can go ahead and use the number 2 pine, because even though it's not the greatest, I'm not going to use all the bad material. I'm going to get rid of most of the bad material. Also, I need to remember where I put my nails. I don't want to use the chop saw to cut into nails. So I brought my nails back just a little bit. Although this is a carbide tip blade and these are thin nails, if I were using a larger nails, I could mess up the carbide tip blades, and that's something that we don't want to do. So let's get started in making these cuts now into the stock. Let me just put on my mask and we'll get started. Now, as you notice, I've cut both of these pieces together. And now what I'll do is I'm going to measure off for the 30 inches. Right off the top. Make the mark. I'm doing them together because I want to make sure that they're twins. Also remembering that I don't want to cut the nails off. And I'm going to take my combination square again, just to the line. I want to show you the right way to do it. You'll learn your own little shortcuts later. Adjust the chop saw to the other side. Bring the chop saw down to the line here. Check on both sides, make sure it's right on that line before I make my cut. Put my mask back on. Now what I'll do is, just to make sure that they're both twins, set them on the table, drop them down. You see that the top, the corner, the top, they align perfectly. Now we know we have perfect twins. Now all we need to do is to continue and make my other sides for my 36.